And now your hosts, Christopher and Jenny, in Making Money with English.
Are you ready to deep dive? This time, we're going all in on TikTok and this whole potential ban in the U.S.
Yeah.
It's been crazy. Supreme Court rulings, last-minute scrambling, and even a surprise appearance by you-know-who, former President Trump.
Oh, yeah.
It is enough to make your head spin. But don't worry, we are here to break it down and help you understand what's really going on.
Well, I think, the way this has been it's almost like a political thriller in a way.
Yeah.
We start with the law passed by Congress with bipartisan support signed by President Biden back in April. And it essentially aims to prevent U.S. companies from hosting TikTok content unless TikTok is sold off to a U.S. or allied buyer.
Okay, so that's the what's the ban, but what's the why?
Yeah.
Why is everyone so concerned about TikTok?
At the heart of it, it really is about national security concerns, because TikTok's parent company ByteDance is Chinese lawmakers are worried about potential data access and influence. Imagine a scenario where the Chinese government could potentially access the data of millions of American TikTok users. That's a significant concern just in terms of privacy and security.
And it's not just a hypothetical concern, right? This ban has teeth. We're talking about the possibility of U.S. companies like Google and Apple being blocked from hosting TikTok content, which could involve things like blocking IP addresses or even removing the app from their app stores. This isn't just a slap on the wrist. This is like a potential death blow for TikTok in the U.S.
Yeah. And then came the Supreme Court decision, which was a unanimous 9-0 vote upholding the ban. That pretty much dashed any hopes of a legal Hail Mary for TikTok.
Yeah, and the timing could not have been more dramatic. It was a Saturday night, just hours before the ban was supposed to take effect, when TikTok suddenly went dark in the U.S.
Yeah.
Just poof, gone from app stores, users getting not available messages. Talk about a cliffhanger ending to the week.
Behind the scenes, there was a lot of pressure on those service providers like Google and Apple. They were facing potentially huge fines for violating the ban. Some reports even suggest that they actually told TikTok they would have to stop carrying the app.
So it sounds like TikTok was kind of backed into a corner, forced to pull the plug preemptively and go offline before they were technically required to. And to add another layer to all of this, TikTok sent a message to its employees, calling the situation disappointing, but assuring them that they're working on a solution.
The interesting part is they specifically cited former President Trump's willingness to reinstate the app as a reason for hope.
Wait, the same Trump who initially sounded the alarm about TikTok and its potential security risks? That's a plot twist I did not see coming.
Yes, the very same. It seems he's had a change of heart. He's been posting on Truth Social about how popular he was on TikTok and questioning why he'd ever want to ban it.
Okay, no, this is getting good. It's like we're watching a political drama unfold in real time.
Yeah.
First, he's the villain. Now he's potentially the hero.
Mm-hmm.
What is going on?
Well, he's even gone so far as to suggest a 90-day extension to the ban and even hinted at a possible executive order to keep TikTok alive. And let's not forget, he even met with TikTok's CEO at one point.
So is this a genuine change of heart or just a calculated political move? It's
Yeah.
so hard to tell with Trump. But one thing's for sure. He's definitely thrown a wrench into the works.
It's certainly a wild card move, and it puts President Biden in a tough spot. He's inherited this whole situation, with a law that has strong bipartisan support.
Right.
But he's also facing pressure from both sides.
Yeah. So what are his options here?
Right.
If he enforces the ban strictly, he risks alienating millions of American TikTok users and, potentially facing legal challenges.
Right.
But if he doesn't, he's essentially going against a law that he signed and, potentially undermining national security concerns.
Yeah.
It's a tough spot.
Absolutely. And I think it's also worth noting, the potential economic impact here. TikTok has become a significant platform for businesses, influencers, and content creators.
Right.
A ban would essentially disrupt an entire ecosystem,
Yeah.
affecting livelihoods and even the flow of information.
Wouldn't it look a little hypocritical if Biden went against a law that he himself signed? He's walking a political tightrope here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then just when you think things couldn't get more complicated, you have this last-minute bid from Perplexity AI to merge with TikTok.
Yeah, that caught me off guard a little bit. Perplexity AI, a search engine startup wanting to merge with a social media giant. It seems like such an odd pairing. What's the logic behind that?
Well, it all boils down to data. Perplexity AI likely sees immense value in TikTok's massive user base and the data they generate. It's, a goldmine of information about user behavior, preferences, and trends. Merging with TikTok could give Perplexity AI a huge boost in their AI capabilities and help them,
Hey, thanks for being here with Making Money with English. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Now, let's get back to the podcast.
expand their reach.
But wouldn't that simply transfer TikTok's valuable data to another entity and potentially sidestep the original security concerns? I mean, the concern is about the Chinese government potentially accessing user data. Wouldn't a merger just shift that access to Perplexity AI?
That's a great point. That's a key question that the U.S. government would really have to scrutinize.
Right.
Would such a merger truly address those core concerns about data security and Chinese influence? It's a very complex issue with no easy answers. And of course, there's also the question of whether ByteDance would even be willing to accept such a merger. I mean, they've previously rejected other potential buyers.
So it's like a high-stakes poker game with everyone holding their cards close to their chest. We got Biden trying to navigate a political minefield, Trump throwing curveballs from the sidelines, and companies like Perplexity AI just trying to capitalize on all the chaos. It's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, and while all of this is happening, we're seeing this surge in popularity of alternative apps like Lemonade, which ironically is also owned by ByteDance.
Wait, really? So even if TikTok gets banned, ByteDance might still have a foothold in the U.S. market through these other apps? It's almost as if they're playing 4D chess while everyone else is playing checkers.
Yeah, and it just goes to show the complexity of this whole issue, It's not just about one app, it's about a whole ecosystem of social media platforms and the kind of global dynamics of data and technology and national security. This whole saga really just highlights how these forces collide and create these ripples that affect everyone.
It feels like we are in uncharted territory here. This TikTok situation could really set a precedent for how governments around the world approach regulating tech companies, especially those with ties to foreign governments.
Absolutely. It's a case study in, the challenges of balancing national security concerns with individual freedoms in the digital age.
And on a more personal level, it makes you think about how much power these platforms have in our lives.
Yeah.
Our entertainment, our news, our businesses, even our social connections. It's all increasingly tied to these digital spaces.
And this raises a crucial question for you, our listener. How do you feel about the potential for governments to regulate what apps you can and cannot use?
It's a question worth pondering. Do we prioritize national security over individual freedom of choice? Where do we draw the line? These are tough questions with no easy answers.
Yeah.
We've talked about the political maneuvering, the legal battles, and the tech giants, all vying for position.
Right.
But it's important to, not forget about the real people
Yeah.
caught in the crosshairs of this whole TikTok tug of war.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's easy to get lost in the headlines and the, high-stakes drama.
Right.
But we got to remember, this isn't just some abstract debate.
Right.
There are real human consequences to consider.
Yeah.
We're talking about millions of users who rely on TikTok for entertainment connection and, even their livelihoods.
Yeah.
For many creators, it's their primary source of income.
Absolutely.
A ban wouldn't just disrupt their creative output.
Mhm.
It could have serious financial consequences.
Absolutely. And it's not just the big name influencers with millions of followers.
Yeah.
Think about all the small businesses, the artists, educators, everyday people who have found a voice and an audience on TikTok.
Yeah.
A ban would essentially silence those voices and disrupt those connections.
Yeah, TikTok has become like a cultural phenomenon, a place where trends are born,
Right.
communities are formed,
Right.
and people find a sense of belonging. It's more than just an app. It's like a digital town square.
Yeah, and that's what makes this whole situation so complex,
Yeah.
It's not just about data and algorithms. It's about human expression and creativity and the very fabric of how we interact online.
It raises some interesting questions. What happens to these communities if TikTok just disappears? Do they migrate to other platforms? Do they fragment and disperse?
Right. And what about the impact on free speech? I mean, while those national security concerns are definitely valid, there's also the risk of setting a dangerous precedent for censorship.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
If governments can ban one app today, what's stopping them from banning others tomorrow? Where do we draw the line between protecting, national interests and preserving individual freedoms?
Yeah, these are the kind of questions that we need to grapple with as we navigate this digital age. The TikTok saga is just one example of, the broader challenges we face.
It's a stark reminder that technology is never neutral.
Right.
It's shaped by the values, the politics, and the power dynamics of the people who create and control it.
As we move forward, it's crucial to be aware of these dynamics and engage in thoughtful, informed conversations about the role we want technology to play in our lives.
We need to ask ourselves, what kind of digital future do we want to build? One that prioritizes security at the expense of freedom, or one that finds a way to balance both?
And remember, this isn't just, a theoretical debate.
Yeah.
This has real-world consequences for individuals, communities, and, the very fabric of our global society. The choices that we make today will determine the digital world that we inherit tomorrow.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the TikTok saga, we leave you with one final thought-provoking question.
Right.
What role do you want to play in shaping the future of the internet?
In the end, did you know there are more secrets to know about this? Don't miss it and subscribe to our channel, Making Money with English.
We Making Money with English podcasts. You can get ideas and benefits of the daily opportunities as a professional investor, or even as a regular English student that is trying to learn and grow on this wonderful and international language. Because the choices we made today will determine the digital world we inherit tomorrow. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and stay tuned for more deep dives into the fascinating and ever-evolving world of tech.
Thanks for listening Making Money with English with your hosts Christopher and Jenny. Until the next time, keep learning English and keep making money.